Let me show you why they can't come near you, why the traps failed, why the whispers fell silent, why the envy bounced off your skin like rain on armor, why they glare but can't touch, why they try but always stop just short, why you're still standing because Allah has covered you, because you are chosen. Scene 1. The silent shield. You walk alone, don't you? Not because you chose loneliness, but because your soul outgrew noise. Still you feel it. The eyes, not eyes of love or admiration, but eyes laced with jealousy, spite, confusion. They don't understand why you're still standing, why you didn't crumble under the weight of what they tried to bury you with. They know what they did. They remember the words they whispered in the dark, the plots they drew in silence, the hopes they had, that you'd fall, that you'd disappear. But here you are, not only standing but glowing, quietly, firmly, with grace they can't explain. They sent arrows. Words meant to break your spirit, actions meant to block your path. But every arrow bent midair, every trap collapsed before it reached you. Not because of luck, but because of light. Your light, not from you, but from Allah. He wrapped you in eye. A shield no one can see, a divine armor crafted by His mercy. And He stationed angels around you, unseen guardians, silently intercepting harm before it touched your skin. Inna lillaha yudafi'u anil ladhina amanu. Indeed, Allah defends those who believe. Surah Al-Hajj 22:38. So walk on. Let them wonder. Let them stare. Because when Allah protects you, no force in this world can touch you. Not even in silence. Scene 2. The reason they can't get close. Let me show you why they can't come near you. Why their plans fall flat. Why their energy fades before it reaches your doorstep. Because Allah saw what you never did. He saw the meetings held behind your back. The words, smooth on the tongue, but laced with poison. The smiles that never reached their eyes. The blessings they envied. The curses they hid behind pretty phrases. And Allah said, "Not my servant, not this one." So while they tried to get close, walls were rising, invisible to them, but unbreakable. You're not untouchable because you're cold. You're not unbothered because you're numb. You're unbothered because you're surrounded. Surrounded by dhikr, the words you repeated in quiet moments. Surrounded by prayer, your 5 daily shields. Surrounded by silent tears, those that soaked your pillow in the last third of the night. Surrounded by du'as, the ones you made in desperation, then forgot about the next day. But Allah didn't forget. He remembered every single plea you whispered in weakness. He answered in ways you didn't notice, protected you from battles you never had to fight, closed doors you begged Him to open, because He saw the fire waiting on the other side. So now, when they wonder, why can't we reach them? Know this, it's not because you built walls. It's because Allah built a fortress around you, from your own tears, from your own prayers, and from His infinite mercy. Scene 3. The failed magic and broken plots. Some didn't stop at envy. They wanted deeper harm, darker harm. They whispered to jinn. They sent shadows into rooms they were never invited to. They scribbled your name in places where light never enters, trying to twist your fate, trying to lock your path. But they forgot one thing. Your name? It's not just on paper. Your name is already written beneath Allah's throne, stamped by His mercy, guarded by His will. And Allah said, not today, not ever. وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. But they do not harm anyone through it except by permission of Allah. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:102. They used spells. You used Bismillah. They used envy. You used Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for us, and He is the best disposer of affairs. They moved with hatred. You moved with Allah. And light always breaks darkness. Always. They tried to shatter your peace, but it only made your dhikr louder. They tried to block your future, but it only brought you to more sujood. Their magic broke. Their plots failed, because when Allah is your protector, no force, seen or unseen, can touch you. You weren't just spared, you were defended by the one who sees all, hears all, and never sleeps. Scene 4. When you're too protected to be possessed. Sometimes you wonder, why do they dislike me? I did nothing to them. That's exactly it. You didn't do anything. But your presence alone reminds them of what they lack. Your silence feels like judgment. Your peace feels like arrogance. Your light exposes their shadows. But you didn't ask for attention. You only asked for protection. And Allah gave it to you in layers. In the timing of your isolation, in the delay of that invitation, in the loss that looked like heartbreak, in the detour that saved your soul, you call it rejection. But it was redirection. You call it loneliness. But He was giving you exclusive access, because what surrounds you is not weakness, it's a divine perimeter. Scene 5. Your light is recognized in the unseen. Have you ever walked into a room, and suddenly all eyes turned toward you? Not because you said a word, not because of how you looked, but because something shifted when you entered. That's not you. That's the nur, the divine light that Allah placed on you. The light of your repentance. The glow of a heart that bends in sujood. The shine that comes from guarding your gaze, your tongue, your soul. It's not a spotlight. It's not visible to everyone, but it's felt by the hearts of the sincere, by the eyes of the envious, by the jinn who roam unseen. Yes, even the jinn see it, because light, real light, spiritual light, it travels beyond this world. It vibrates in the unseen. And those who live in the realm of the unseen, they recognize it instantly. They know. The protected ones, the ones wrapped in dhikr, the ones whose homes echo with Quran, the ones who don't belong to the dunya. But to Allah, you may not see it, you may not feel it, but the ones meant to see, the ones meant to fear it, they do. Because when Allah loves a servant, He places acceptance for them on the earth and awe for them in the heavens. Your light is not loud, it is not boastful, but it is recognized in the unseen by those who know what true power looks like, a servant humbled before his Lord. Scene 6. You were hidden on purpose. There were days you felt invisible, passed over, unnoticed, ignored by the people you thought mattered. You questioned yourself. Am I not enough? Why didn't they choose me? Why didn't that door open for me like it did for them? But what you saw as rejection was actually protection. Allah was hiding you, shielding you from hearts not built to hold you, guarding you from love stories that looked sweet on the surface, but would have poisoned your soul. He didn't let certain people come close. He didn't let your name cross certain lips. He didn't let you be understood by every crowd. Not because you were unworthy, but because you were sacred. You were never meant to blend. You were meant to be guarded. Like the Kaaba, surrounded by angels. Like the Quran, preserved word for word, untouched. You are not ordinary. You carry light. You carry prayer. You carry a story written by Allah Himself. So stop mourning the doors that never opened. They weren't rejections. They were walls, built by your Lord, to keep you pure, to keep you safe, to keep you undamaged for what He's preparing you. For because when it's time, the right hearts will see you, the right doors will open, and you'll understand you were hidden on purpose by the one who never makes mistakes. Scene 7. Victory was never loud. Victory didn't come with claps. It came with silence. When they tried and failed, and you never even knew, Allah was already blocking what your eyes couldn't see. Because when you're sincere with Him, He fights for you in unseen ways. The battle ends before it even begins. So now you know they can't come near you. Not because you're strong, but because you're guarded. Not because you're perfect, but because you're purified. You don't need to defend your name. Allah already did. You don't need to prove your purity. The filth cannot mix with light. You don't need to fear them, because they fear what's around you. And who walks beside you? Let them wonder. Let them whisper. Let them plan. And you, just keep praying. Keep walking. Keep glowing. Because the One protecting you never sleeps. لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. Neither drowsiness overtakes Him nor sleep. Ayat al-Kursi 2.255. They can't come near you because you belong to Allah.